Hi everyone, and welcome to our Pano2VR 101 and getting started really for Street View. Right, okay, let me just get rid of that off the screen. No, I can't, because that's actually part of the picture. Okay, I won't do that then. Right, so I'm Martin from Support. I'm joined today by...
Karen, hi. I'm going to be back here in the background, helping with the Q&A, the questions and answers. Just a reminder, please use the Q&A tab. If you have a question, that's where we will be looking for questions. So please add them there and try to stay on topic. That's it for me, and I will see you later.
Okay, thank you very much, Karen. Right, so let's swap screens and let's get started. Right, today is basically 101 with Street View for Pano2VR. Now, before we start, I've recently been on to the Street View support forum, whatever, and getting more confirmation of how to take the panoramas. Now, for those people new to Street View, basically what they're saying is set the camera height to 1.2 to 1.8 meters, so that's basically 4 to 6 foot from the floor, so that's the camera up from the floor. Distance between the nodes, they're saying if you're indoors it's 1 meter or 3 foot, and if you're outdoors it's 3 meters and 10 feet. Each panorama should be line of sight, which makes sense because you don't want nodes or links going through walls. And they're saying that start from the street and work into the property. I'm assuming that the reason why they're saying that is if you've got a Street View car close by, it could probably pick that up and then you could go from the street and into the property. But this is one of the stipulations that they're saying. And they're also saying limit the tour to 100 nodes. Now, why am I going through this? Well, I had some issues the other day, and I sort of contacted them and said, I've got these issues. And a couple of my panoramas didn't actually fall within the set distances, so that's what it's blamed. In fact, it ended up being something completely different, and I then got it resolved. But of course, because I didn't follow their exact guidelines, it was something that they could bash me over the head with. So, you know, I'm saying all this just to make sure that, you know, this is how you're capturing the images to start with. So if you've captured the images right and you have a problem, at least when you go back to Google, they've got nothing to say, well, because you've done this, that or the other. Anyway, moving on. So this is my project. Now this project here has already got a Street View uploaded, this particular tour. So we'll be referring back to that as and when we get to it. But to start with, what I would do is open up Pano2VR. So we'll just click this. Here we go. Close that down. I'm going to option 1 on my keyboard. You could see the keys up here. If you've been on the Mac, on the PC, that would have been control 1. And that just resets all my panels, because this is basically how you would see Pano2VR when you first open it. So what I'm going to do is select all the panoramas for this particular tour and drag them in, and that's job done. Now, setting up. What's the first, you know, what's a good procedure? Well, first and foremost, really, I would use the user data and start entering your user data. Now, speaking with Thomas, he sort of confirmed with me yesterday that Google uses the description as the title. So you would use that. So you type in your titles in the description text field. All right. So that's so you'd probably want to do that for all nodes. So let's just do node 1, and then I'm going to use the keyboard shortcuts. You'll be able to see them on the screen to move over. So that's node 2, and then let's just do node 3, and then finally node 4. So that's my title set. Okay, so that's basically where you use the data. Obviously you can add copyright or whatever you want to your nodes. I'm not sure that it's really going to make much difference when they're uploaded onto Google, but at least you've got that metadata into your images. Okay, so once you've typed in all your user data, I would personally, my next task would be leveling. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the properties panel here, and if you haven't already got it turned on, I tend to have my grid view turned on most of the time, but we use the grid for leveling, or I do at least. And what you're looking for is verticals in your panoramas. So again, if you whiz them around, try and find something vertical. If you hold down the L key for leveling, you'll see the panorama goes to the horizon. You can then drag each side up and down to level each pano. All right, so I would certainly do that first. All right, so when all your panoramas are all level, the next item, or the next thing you would want to do, is look at patching. Now, there's a couple of things I'd say about patching here. I mean, personally, I wouldn't patch this, and I haven't, because this is just me going down on a boat, or just having a boat cruise, so that's fine. But if you were sort of doing a property, now, as you may or may not know, Google tend to use this like cat butt type thing, where they just bring all the pixels into the center. Now, what Pano2VR does is something very similar. I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut. We do actually have separate videos on patching, which this is included, but basically, if you were to hold down the Shift Alt key change to patch mode, sorry, in the viewer, hold down Shift Alt, double click, and that adds our blurred patch or blurred cover. You can change the size of it, and that's that one for that image. All the others will be not touched. Right, if you want to do this for all the panoramas, so let's just delete that, because that's the other cool thing about Pano2VR. It doesn't affect the input images. This is all to do with the output. So basically, if I wanted to do with I wanted to patch all of the input images, I would go to Edit Master Node, look down, make sure that I'm in patch mode. Again, Shift Alt, double click, make that a little bit bigger because I needed to, and that's basically done. Because whatever you do in the master node, it then appears in all of your nodes. So and to actually get out of master node, all I do now is just click any one of my panoramas and I'm out. You saw a little bit of remapping going on there, or processing going on now, and now all my panoramas are sorted. There we go. So there we go. So that's all of them got a patch on. Now, I don't particularly like that patch, and if I was going to do this, or if I was a business, I probably wouldn't want to do that. So I'm going to go back to Edit Master Node, and I could delete it here. Or if you were to go to List View, you can see here in the list, I've got in the master node one patch. It's a blurred cover. I can click and delete it there, and it's gone. All right, so that's adding, if you like, a blurred cover. But what I would prefer to do personally is use the patch, and actually I'm going to use the master node again because I want to affect all nodes. So there's Tools, to Edit Master Node, and I'm going to make sure that I'm in patch mode or patch viewer mode, double click to add the patch. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to select an image. So here's a logo. All right, so here it is. You can just about see it fades out, so it's here. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is add another one, lay it on top, and this one I'm going to make into a mirrorball. Okay, and then I'm going to add another one, stack it on top, and then I'm going to select our logo. All right, so what I've done is stacked 3 patches on top of each other. If I go into the list view, you can see this in the master node, that my so when you're looking at the list view, the lowest item is the closest thing to you. So that would be my logo. Then we've got the mirror ball, and then we've got the outer surround here. Okay, now I'll probably need to tweak that a little bit, but if we came out now and look down, you can see that I've got the mirror ball and the logo. I can't see the other item, so let's just go back to Edit Master Node, and make that one. I could make that a bit bigger. Let's do that and see what that does. And there it is. Obviously you'd play around with this, but then you've now got a nice little logo in all of your panoramas. Now, logos. Want to talk about logos, be careful what you put. If you start putting contact information like telephone numbers and things like that, you run the risk of Google not approving your images and kicking it out. So perhaps a company name and a logo, you may get away with that, but anything other than that and any contact details, I think you may have issues. Thomas is coming in on the teletype, so we'll see what he has to say. Oh, and not larger than 36 field of view. Okay, so yeah, so obviously they can't be too big either. So there's a size limit to that. So let's go back to the tour master node and have a look at the field of view. So that one's too big, so that would be 36, and then I'd have to make the others smaller to make that fit. So this is probably a bad thing, so let's just do that. So let's do, if we say 36, so if I was to do 30, I could do the mirror ball to I don't know, 25, and then the 20 for the image, and let's just see what that looks like. Okay, I would actually make the mirror ball a bit smaller, but yeah, but you can see where I'm going with this, and you know how to make that look a little bit more appealing. So actually what I will do is make that a little bit smaller. So let's do, I don't know, 18 as a guess. Here we go. Yeah, so that's more like where I want to be. So yeah, we go. So we've got a nice little patch, and that's now, because I did it through the master node, as you can see when the list mode is selected, it does say master node, and that's where they are. If you do want to do it, now I was using the menu, I was going the long way round, but basically in the list view, if you want to adjust anything you can see in the list, just double click it. So that will take me to that particular patch, that one or that one. Okay, so that's the patching sorted out. And as I say, the thing I really wanted to concentrate on there is the type of patch you'll use or the type of logo. Be very, very, very careful. There is information on the Google Street View websites. Google it and find out what you can and can't get away with. Okay, so that's basically images in, leveled and patched. The other thing that you're going to want to do is blur people's faces out. Now again, Pano2VR, if whilst we're in patch mode, there's a couple of ways of doing this. Now Pano2VR has blurred circles, blurred squares, and you can keyboard shortcut. We will do that in a second. But if you've got lots and lots of areas to blur out, it's probably quicker to open up your panorama in something like Photoshop, use the fudge tool or the blur tool, and just basically blur out each face very, very quickly. But if you want to do it within Pano2VR, again, make sure you're in patch mode, hold down the shift key, double click, and you get a blurred circle. Just resize it, done, move on. Here I've got a couple of people. I could add two little tiny blurs, or double click and add a blur to just do both of them. It depends on where your focus is going to be. If your focus, for argument's sake, was the bridge and you just want to get rid of people's faces, then yeah, you can blur out, you know, quite a big area really, I would imagine, and get away with that and not actually have too much problem. So let's just do that, and that's all 4 people done then. So yeah, so that's a way within Pano2VR for blurring people's faces. Okay, with that said, I'm going to take a breather, and I'm going to invite Karen back and see if we've got any questions so far.
Hi, we do.
Awesome.
Yeah, Richard has a good question. In list view, can you reorder the 3 elements so that the mirror patch or the mirror ball ends up at the bottom with the other logos on top? Is it hierarchical?
It is, and I'm glad you asked that, because I forgot to mention it, which is awesome. But yes, basically, you can see here how I've got it stacked. As I said, in the list view, because it, you know, a little bit contrary to the skin, because in the skin, the higher up the tree, the more forward it is to you. But in the list view, we're actually listing things as they're added. Okay, so the last thing to be added was our logo. But I could actually add the logo. Actually, the logo's probably, yeah, I can add the logo behind everything like that. And if I now do a reload image, you'll see that it now is gone behind it. So yes, you can change the image, and let's just, or update image. Come on, and there it is. So yes, you can change and swap around. The thing in the list view, if you've got hotspots in this node as well, the hotspots will be listed in this you're good. Well, basically, you're only seeing the master node because I've got items in the master node. If you didn't have anything in the master node, we wouldn't be seeing this table. You would only see the list view. Now, what happens is if I was to add hotspots first, then patches, I would get hotspots listed first, then patches. I can't move the patches above the hotspots, but I can move the patches between the patches section, and I can move hotspots between hotspot sections. If I added patches first, then hotspots, then the patches would have been at the top and the hotspots would then be at the bottom. The last thing I would have added would have been at the bottom. So yeah, you understand what I mean. But they're done in groups. So yes.
Yeah. Luke is asking if it is possible to set a default size of the patch. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I've got a funny feeling that you can use the no, you can't. Okay. Basically, you can't set a default size for the patch, but what you can do is if you add it in master node, as we've seen, it adds it to all. But if you add a patch into node 1, actually I'm going to do this rather than tell you, just show you. Right, okay, so if I got rid of the patch, that's all gone now. Right, what I'm going to do is patch mode, double click, add a patch. Let's add the outer ring, and then let's double click, add another patch, drag it on top, and add the what we're doing. Add the, oh no, I want to add a mirror ball, don't I? So let's add a mirror ball. Okay, so that's the mirror ball now on top. See, the mirror ball's too big, so we can bring that in a bit. Okay, so what I could do now is literally say, right, I can select these two items, right button click copy, select those 3 in the tree, right button click paste, and now all of those will have the copy and paste. Now obviously they're not exactly where I placed them. I don't think I placed it correctly at the bottom anyway to start with, but you can see what's going on. When I added the patch, basically you can copy any item in the list view and then paste it to other nodes. Alright, so yeah, you can do that. But also what we've got is our history back, so let's do that. So let's go back to resize. No, let's go back to that. Create batch and modify. Anyway, we can go back and we can play around and do lots and lots and lots of things. So that was, that's what we wanted to go back to here. Sorry. So this is our history as well. So that's also something else to know about, which is handy to have if you're like me and really messing around and destroying things. So yeah, that's quite good. Right, okay, so that's about patching and everything else. Before I carry on, Karen, was there any more questions? Sorry, I was...
Oh yeah, there's more. There's more. You're not done yet.
Okay. I shan't run off.
So just to continue with Luke's question, he clarified and he said that he meant more for like a blur. You need an oval, and with a specific size that fits the face. So not like a big square. Yeah, you can change that also, I believe, right? You can.
Right. Okay. Right. So let's have a little think. Right. I think with the patches we get. We can add. If I do sorry, let's get rid of that. Delete that. If I was just to add I think I've blurred most people, but let's just do one here. No, I think it's a circle. I don't think we can do ovals, but
yeah, you can change the aspect ratio maybe.
Yes, you can. Sorry. Well done, Karen. Awesome. So yeah, you can. There you go. Aspect ratio. I stand corrected.
And you can also right click in the viewer and then paste to another face.
Yeah. So copy active patch and then patch. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Something I've learned today.
Right.
Or forgotten today. One or two.
Yeah, that's all right. We're all in this together. It's good.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. But so Luke, there's no way to actually it's not a default. There is no way to set the default, but we're just showing you that you can
Copy and paste it. Yeah.
copy and paste it. Right.
Okay, cool. Whilst we're here, actually.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry, go on.
There's still another question, but if you
No,
want to
I
move,
was just going to say with Luke, obviously we can't see that it's being oval, but if you were to select, say, the panorama, we've got this eye, which if we click this, it hides all the icons then. So if you've got something smaller than the icon, like the patch icon, you can now see behind it. So that's all I was going to say. Here we go. Right, carry on. Sorry.
that's a good trick. I always forget about turning off the icons. And that's nice, not just for patches, but if you have a lot of hotspots, and just to get rid of them and kind of clear it out. But for even showing for the patches, that's nice. So another nice tip. So let's see, we've got anonymous attendee has a good question. Why blur in Pano2VR if Google will blur faces?
That's a good question. And sorry, I was away from the mic there. That's a good question. It's does it blur where you want it to blur? Does it capture everything? I don't know the automatic tools. For Pano2VR, for us, because we're dealing with Pano2VR and Street View, for us you would blur from here and when you upload. So therefore, it's not actually. Thomas is coming through on the teletype and saying that Google doesn't blur images, but I'm saying
No, it doesn't blur our images.
no, it doesn't blur our images. So therefore,
Why doesn't it blur our images? Are we banned from being blurred?
I don't know. I just like to be crystal clear all the time, but here you go. But basically, because we're just uploading only for video uploads. Apparently, that's coming in again from the teletype from Thomas. So it's hot off the press. Only for video uploads. So of course we're not doing video uploads. We're doing single images. We're uploading. So we're uploading the image. So therefore, if you want it blurred, you have to blur it from us going up. You can't blur it once it's up there. Right.
Oh, there. Learning so much today already. We're only 20 minutes in. Okay. Let me see. Lucas just also commenting still that because you also need to blur for license plates and names and logos and everything. So it would be very useful, Thomas, Christoph, if you're listening, maybe we can put that in for... Yeah, so Thomas is telling us that you can paste it to a text file and copy it from there. But it's still not a default. I think what Luke wants is just like you set a default view and you can hit a button and it says set, and then you have that saved for that. So there's no extra button and clicking and stuff to do. So,
right, okay. I must admit, I'm not fully au fait what Thomas is on about there. You can copy and paste it to a text file and copy it from there. Perhaps when I'm talking, Karen, you can have a chat with Thomas and clarify what that means exactly, because I don't know. But
I think if you just copy and then go right into the text file, into like text edit, make a new file, and then well, we can.
I'll play with that later because this is something I've not done. So and again, this is 101, so it may be out of scope of what we're trying to do.
I think it's
anyway.
A little out of scope, but it's okay. All right. So that's it for questions, and we'll have another Q&A session later.
Right. Okay. But if you do want to type with Thomas whilst I'm talking and see if you can get clarification. That'll be really good because this sounds like something that I should know about and don't. So all good. Right. So where are we then? We're at the stage where we've now got the images in. They're leveled, and they're now patched. So you've got rid of the tripod at the bottom if you haven't already done so. Okay. So that's where we are. So what we want to do now is open up our tour map. So again, like me, I've got my list view open. You can Alt 1 and bring all your panels back to where they should be. If you haven't got it already open, here is our Google Street View button. But what I need to do first and foremost is make sure that we're in the right place on Google Maps, or on Maps. I won't say Google Maps, on Maps. All right, so we'll just open this up, and here is Maps, because we default to the world map. And what I'm going to do here is I've got it as a floating panel. Now I could, if I had two monitors, I could put it on a different monitor and make it a bit bigger, or I could just dock it in here and I can see it here as well. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out. Because, and actually it's too far. I'm going to go to satellite view as well. So let's just zoom in, because where I am actually is at this bridge. That's what we're going under. All right, so this is this big bridge we're going under. Okay, so the thing is, if I click this button, which fits nodes to window or moves them to boundaries, you can see that I'm right out. And the reason being, I was using a Ricoh Theta, the Z1, and I must have lost Wi-Fi connection at some point, so it couldn't geolocate the images properly. So this is where I am, and this is where Pano2VR, or rather the images, or the location data of the images say they are. So the first job you need to do is position yourself on the map. So you want to do that. The other thing I want to show, or just clarify, is that we've got an A here, and we're on this A in the tour browser. All right, if I click B, you see B, and we've got these A. Now by default that's not switched on, so if you want that on, it's on the Mac, Pano2VR preferences, file settings on the PC, go to advanced tab and show internal, no, tell a lie, where is it, show map labels in tour browser and map. All right, so you need to select that. When you select that, you will get these little labels. So if you've got a fairly large tour, it makes it easier to identify the node pin in the map and then the node in the tour browser. That's another thing. We call panoramas nodes in tours. So if you've got like a virtual tour that consists of 10 panoramas, it's a 10 node tour. It may be terminology that you're familiar with or not familiar with, depending on which software or application you're coming from or use at the moment. But just so we don't lose you, that's where I'm going with that. Right, so basically I'm selecting this node and we can see A and A here. All right, so that's that. So basically all I'm going to do then is just drag and drop that where it should be. Okay, so I'm now going to select B and do exactly the same thing. Just to speed things up, I'm just going to select C, drag that there, and then D, and drag that there. Okay, I can now set nodes to bounds, and yeah, and we can get them all in. Now this is nowhere near where they actually are. Now Pano A actually should be here, so they're actually in reverse order, but it doesn't matter. What I'm going to do is click, drag and drop it where it should be. All right, now with A selected, I can't drag the blue pins. If you want to drag a blue pin, what you do is hold down the Alt key and then you can. All right, so that's my blue pins being dragged about. Okay, if you select, say D, and it turns red, then you can drag it without actually holding down the Alt key. So again, I do want to just move this just a little bit better. That's going to it, that's under the bridge, and that one's just coming out the other side. Okay, so that's basically my tour map. If I zoom in, you can see that we've got this, oh, let's turn that off. We've got this line going straight through, so this is our radar. If I rotate the panorama, you'll see that the radar beam rotates with me. Now, as it turns out, the theta's heading wasn't too bad. So you can see that if I look behind me, that radar beam is not too far out, because we want to get the headings right. So you drag and drop your nodes in the tour map to position the panorama within maps. I will say that the satellite map, even though it looks the best map, actually isn't that accurate. If we zoom into the road here and I change to the Google road map, actually that's not too far off. This is probably a very bad example, but generally speaking, you'll see some differences between the satellite map and the road map. The last time I looked into this, the more accurate GPS placing was taken from the road map. This is a 101. I'm not going to go into it, but if you've got a building, you can actually add a floor plan to Pano2VR, geo-reference that floor plan into this tour map, so we'll see it here, and then you can drag your nodes into the floor plan. Of course, if the floor plan is geolocated on the maps, then you get a much accurate location data with all of your panoramas. But we do have videos on that, but as I say, this is out of scope for today. So we've got our nodes roughly in a line. We can move the panorama around if they're not pointing in the right direction. So if I'm pointing backwards and this wasn't right, as an example, if I use the top of this bridge as a straight line, okay, you can see I'm slightly off. Now I can do one of two things. If I'm in the viewer, I can hold down the N key for north, and I should be able to rotate. There we go. So if I actually come up, you'll see that we've got our compass there. So you couldn't see it because I'm pointing upwards, but if I hold down the N key, I can rotate the pano, but the pano doesn't rotate, the compass does. All right. It's just as quick to use the tour map, because you can select a node. I can use the radar beam of the tour map to rotate the panorama, and then if I hold down the N key, I can rotate the tour map, the radar beam in the tour map, and the panorama doesn't rotate. So again, as a reference, I could use I'm under the bridge, so I could use the bridge as a reference here, make sure that's straight, I can make sure my pin's there. And what you're trying to achieve is we've got this little line and you can see your node's line of sight. So this takes us back to what we first said about when you're taking the panoramas, make sure each pano is in line of sight, because this will make this task a lot easier. If you can see the next node, you can say, right, it's there, I'm going to select this next node, I'm going to do exactly the same thing here. So for me, I'm going to use again the bridge as a reference. So here's a straight line of the bridge. The bridge is arced, so I'm not using anything at the bottom, but the top of the bridge is straight. So again, hold down the N key in the tour map, line that up, and theoretically what should start to be happening is we've got this line appearing. So from there to there, I've got my node, and from this one to that, obviously D is out as well, but yeah, you can start to see that we're lining up and placing our pins. So when we move a pin, if I go to user data, just to show you, we've got the current latitude and longitude. If I move that, this will change as well, and this is going to be the data that we'll be uploading to Google, and this is where and how Google link the images together. We tell Google which images should link, but they will use this location data to actually place the links in between the panoramas. Okay, so I'm going to sort of say that all of our linking is done. Let's just do this last one, make sure it is. So let's have a look at the bridge. No, that's actually a bit wonky, isn't it? So let's put that there, hold down the N key, move the radar beam so it's straight with that, and then we should have that line link up with this node here, right, or this hotspot here. Now the thing is, these hotspots are grey, all right. What this is actually physically telling me at the moment is where the next node is to relation where I am. Now we haven't linked them, all right. Now when you're building self-hosted tours, what you would do is you'll drag nodes out, and you can, as you drag nodes out and drop them, you'll create a hotspot. As an example, if I do that and let it go, I've created a hotspot between here and there. I don't want to do that because, as I said, Google will use the geolocation and use the linking using the geolocation. So if you start dragging out and adding your hotspots manually, when we come to upload, it's going to say there's loads of hotspots that are not geolocated and they're not going to be in the right place. All right, so it's important that you use the location data and set your north. If the map pin is in the right place and it's pointing in the right direction, the hotspots will be correct. Okay, it's as simple as that. So this is all the nodes have geolocated. We can tell where each node is by this ghost hotspot. If you don't want to see ghost hotspots because you've got loads of nodes, you can turn it off in the viewer or turn them on. All right. Next part then is creating the links between these nodes. How do we link the panoramas together? Now, again, there's a couple of ways of doing this. The first way we'll look at is using the tour map. This is our link icon. We click that. You can see that we can automatic link sequential. What this will do is link A, B, C, D, and then D will swing back to A. So it will create a circle. So if I do that, you'll see exactly that's what it's done. All right. I can go to tour automatic linking and remove all links. So that's gone. If I do closest node, that's probably going to work better for most of situations. So if I click closest node, we are just linking the nodes together. All right. So that's quite a good way, and I would say probably the best way. All right. So that's the closest node. Now this is doing it within the tour map. You can also do this, as we just saw here, auto linking, and let's say we could remove that and click auto linking and then do closest node up here as well. All right. So you can either link from the tour map or link from the menu. There is another way of doing it. Oh, let's just set that. So let's go back to the tour automatic linking and remove links. And the way of doing this is if I grab the second node where I said earlier, don't, all right, and drop it here, it would create a wrong link. But if you look here, we've got these auto place areas. And what this will do is if you drag and drop the node here, it's actually going to create a link between, let's just move that, between these two nodes. All right. Because it's auto linking using the GPS data, or the location data rather. Okay. So if I then hold down the Alt key and click the hotspot, we move to that location. I can do exactly the same thing. Link both ways. You'll see that it's got a padlock. That means, and this is quite important, if I deselect it, it's blue. All right. That tells me there is a hotspot there or a link there, but it's not selected. If I select it, it turns red and it turns into a padlock, or it has a padlock with it, not turns into a padlock. If I make sure that I've got properties selected, you'll see that we've got auto lock position. Basically, sorry, auto place lock position. Auto place means it's using location data. I can't stress this enough. I've repeated myself so many times. Location, data, because this is what Google uses. All right. So what we'll do then is, again, hold down the Option key or the Alt key, move to the next node, drag and drop, and now that's made our connections as well. Obviously, when I was dragging and dropping, you saw we have link both ways or link one way. So auto place would only have a link from this node to the node I'm dragging out. Link both ways means you'll get a return node back. All right, so that's basically what we've done there. So here I am, and you can see that I can now quite happily go back to where I started. Holding down the Alt key, you can test all your hotspots and links, all right, to see if you're happy with them. So that's basically linking all the nodes, auto linking, and you know, and using the tour map, using the menu, and then using the drag and drop from the tour browser into the viewer. So there are your different ways, but the important part here, as I say, can't stress it enough, we're linking using the location data of the nodes. All right, okay, so how are we doing for time? Right, okay, is there any more questions, Karen? Is there, or any questions after that linking?
Yeah, so let's see. I haven't read it yet. Oh, good question. Okay, so Richard is asking, if the hotspot isn't accurate, should you change these in the tour map? He said that he found some of his weren't quite right when he unlocked them.
Right, absolutely. If you've added them unlocked, you can basically stick it where you want. All right. If you then lock it by doing the placement, the auto placement, the hotspot will move according to the location data and the data that Google will use. All right. So this is why it's always key to have it locked. If it's not in the right place, as an example, this one. All right, so this hotspot here going to C, it's not in the right place because I've got a bit of a kink there. It's not a straight line. The boat was taking a nice straight line and I've not put C in a straight line. So what I can do is hold down the, I can either select C and drag it or hold down the Alt key. And if I drag C, you'll see that that hotspot now lines up a little bit better. Okay, so you would correct your hotspots by either correcting the map pin or correcting the heading, like your north setting. So again, if I was to press the N key and adjust my north setting, you'll see that the hotspots will move because they're moving in relation to the compass of the node. All right, so it's important that you get your head. This is why I'm saying in the order of adding images, you know, like patches, things like that. There's an order of these things, and the reason why I set this particular order is, you know, once that you've that you've set your heading and you've leveled it. For me, the last thing you want to be doing is linking, because you want everything pointing in the right direction. If after you linked you do find that you have an issue, you would use the tour map to correct the hotspot. All right, so it's in answer to that question. Use the tour map, move the pin, or adjust the heading to correct the hotspot.
Okay, that's it. Richard says he's got it. Thank you. He's got some work to do this evening, so good luck with that, Richard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I mean, it's you know, staying on this, you know, quickly. This is why we brought in this floor plan. It's very clever. We do have videos on this. You know, we open up, you know, a map such as Google Map. We geolocate a floor plan, so you measure the width. So that floor plan is, you know, now has GPS coordinates from Google Maps or from Maps. All right. So then when you drop your pins into the floor plan, the accuracy of dropping it in is really good. I mean, obviously I'm looking at this big bridge, and I don't know whether really if that's 5 meters or 10 meters. I mean, I can't really tell, but you know, you do need to be fairly accurate, as I was saying with the specifications from Google. When you're outside, they're saying each node needs to be 3 meters. Well, as the boat was moving, there was no way I was going to do 3 meters between shots because processing of the images. So yeah, okay, right. So moving on then, we've linked all the nodes, we've shown all the auto linking, and that's done. Right, with that all done, then we can hide the tour map. Don't need to see that anymore. And I'm going to go to the Street View panel. Now, as I say, if it's not active, you can click the button and make it active. I'm going to actually bail out of this. All right, so I'm going to revoke this. So if you're new to Pano2VR, what you would do is, one assumes that you have your Google account. So you'll click the green shield. It will say whatever, yeah, and do I want to allow Pano2VR to use that account? Yes, and there it goes. So Martin Hopkins, that's me. I've got 92 panoramas, and I've had nearly 2.5 million views. Woo! Right, okay. So this is basically all my account details. If I want to see my account, I've got this little button on the end here, which is Open Account in Browser. So if I click that, that's exactly what it's going to do. Oh, that's my auth thing. You're going to get this when you log into your account. You're going to get a browser window saying that you've successfully logged in. All right. If you there is a situation that if you click the login button twice, right? So let's see if I can actually force this, because I've had a few people with this. If I click it once and click it again, right? Okay, I've now got 2 of these, right? So now Google is looking at me to make a decision on the second browser window. But if I close that and go to the first one and click that, right, and allow, oh, it's allowed me to do it. Okay, fair dues. But what you can do is, if you click on the wrong one or authorize the wrong one, you actually get some status error pop up. I can't remember exactly what it says, but it says like wrong status or wrong something or other. Thomas is typing on the teletype. Perhaps yes, no, something's coming in. I have removed this. Okay, you won't then. I lied. Okay, you used to. But all right, moving on. We don't have that anymore. Okay, so you've logged into your account. It tells you all your account details. This was a security thing. Google broke it. All right, so it was a security thing. Google broke it, and we removed it. So doesn't show it anymore, so that's great. Right, so let's just open up the my account. So let's get rid of this authorization window. So this is my account in Google. It's got all my pretty panoramas in there, and if I click on the project, which as I say, I've already actually uploaded. It's not perfect. For some strange reason, I've still got the hotspot is pointing in the wrong direction, but in the general, hotspots are all pointing in the right direction, and we can visit my tour. All right, so this is it, and you can see the blurred faces and all that sort of stuff. So that's quite cool. Right, so that's logging into your account. So you can log into your account, log out of your account, and you can see your account. That's the 3 buttons here. So that's invoke, revoke, and see it. You've also got who it is. You can log into more than one account. So if you're flicking between, say, a customer account and your own account, you can do that. And here we have what we call our Street View browser. Now this lists all the panoramas that you've uploaded. So if I click this, this will now list all the panos on Street View or Google. And you can see a tour will have a little drop down. So these are the individual nodes of those tours. I can double click and open that up in Google, so you can open up your account and see the tour, or you can open it up here or in the individual images here. So this is the tour browser. If for argument's sake you lost your project and you want to go back, and I think the technical term is remoderate it, but if you want to adjust hotspots or adjust any of the data, then what you can do is open up a new version or a new Pano2VR project, come into the Street View browser, and you can select and download the images and create them here again. So you can actually fetch the images to build the tour locally again to work on it. I will say at this point, with things like patches and logos and things like that, Google does not allow you to overwrite images. Okay, so if you had a tour and you didn't put your logo in and went, oh, damn, I want to add my logo, what you would physically have to do is come back to Pano2VR, add all your logos to your panoramas, go to the Street View browser and delete that tour. All right. What I would recommend is delete the tour and wait for at least a day, day and a half. Then go back to the Street View browser to make sure it is deleted. Then perhaps go to your Google account. So open up, I don't know, your browser, going to your Google account. Make sure it's not sitting in there. So I have it here. So make sure the images are no longer sitting in here. I say this because what you can do is delete nodes, and then within 2 or 3 hours they come back again because they've been fetched from a different server elsewhere in the planet from Google. So they've put them back. So you really want to make sure that those nodes are completely gone. That tour is completely deleted. Once it's deleted, then what you would do is use this button here, which is the Upload Project button. Okay, so if I hover over that, it should say Upload Project. Okay, so that's what you would do. So if you adjust like GPS location, or is it, no, not GPS, but like image location or metadata, so like titles or anything like that, that's part of the image, that's in the image, so that's an image change. If you were to change GPS location or hotspot location, you can just upload the project again, and that uploads the metadata and recreates that, uploads that update onto Google. It should, after a day or two, 48 hours, whatever, it should update that information. In some cases, the information's never been updated, and it's actually been quicker to completely remove the tour and then re-upload it with the new data, and you often find within a day or two it's uploaded and how it should be. So you sort of take your chances with that one, but basically if you've got lots of viewing counts and you don't want to Thomas is saying, yeah, view counts. But if you've got lots of view counts on a tour, as an example, if I look in here, I've got, this one panorama's got 27,000 views. I mean, if I wanted to change something on here, do I really want to think about deleting it, I'd rather not. So yeah, so if it is just, you know, a location change or something like that, then I would upload it and just wait. But if it's a fairly new tour like this, and you realise that you've forgotten something, then it could be quicker to delete it and re-upload it. So, but how you and what you do with that is entirely up to yourselves. All right, so that's basically uploading the tour. That's everything else. What I'm going to do is close this project file, because I want to open the project file that I actually used to upload this project, all right, which is here. So if I open it up, and this is it. And the reason why I want to show you this is because we've now got some other bits going on. Now, this was the actual project file I used, okay. I didn't put any glary patches in this one, but what we have now got is this online status, because this was the actual project, all right. This is telling me, if I open up my tour browser, you'll see now that we've got linked 4 panoramas. If I open it up, you'll see that each one is linked. Okay. And oh, let's not do that just yet. Right. So each one of those is linked. Okay. If for some reason it becomes broken and they're not linked, okay, what you would do is select the panorama, go into your Street View browser, find that panorama, then you can right button click, and it is actually connected, but you can connect to the connect to the current panorama. So if you've lost links in panoramas, it's not the end of the world. You can relink them to your project. Okay, right. The other thing that you have to do before you can upload, because obviously what I wanted to do was show the project online because of the fact that, you know, it's already up there, so I wanted to show you. But let's get back to our process of dealing with Street View. So we've now left it with doing the links, and we've done the and whatnot. So all the panoramas are now linked in the tour map. So let's just go back to this. Let's just go back to satellite view. I know it's a little bit jumpy, but you know, here you can see that they're now linked properly. Okay. So if I now go back to Street View, what I need to do is give this a place. All right. Now you can see I've got a place already set. Okay. But what you would do is select your panorama. I'm going to just delete that. All right. So this is what it will look like. All right. You would click. There's a couple of ways of doing this. You can click the plus button and type in a search word. So this was going to be the Orwell Bridge, and it's the viewpoint. So I'm adding a place, and then what I would do here is use the copy button and copy that to all. Now obviously it's saying to me that some nodes in your account have already got a place because they have, so I'm going to just say no to that. But you'll see that we now have a place, so Google knows where to put these on the map. All right, so that's an important bit. Okay, so that's your place being added. The other way that you can add a place is if we let's delete this. Let's delete this one. What I'm going to do here is we've got this little search icon, pick a place from Google Maps. So if I click this, this will open up Google Maps, and I'm actually going to undock this and make it a little bit bigger so it's easy for us to see. Okay, so let's just make that a bit bigger. I'm going to come out a bit, and here is my viewpoint. So if I open up Google Maps, I can see that I've got a valid Google place. If I click this, boom, done. It's added that place now to my Street View panel. I can now copy that place to all the other nodes. Okay, so that's a couple of ways that you can add a place to your images. So that is basically the last step. From that step, that's when you use the upload project button, and then everything goes up to Google. If I click this now, you'll see that it's telling me that there is 4 images in Google. It knows that, and it will take several hours for these to connect the hotspots. Basically, Google say it takes 48 hours. In reality, can take a bit longer, but that's basically it. You click the button and we've uploaded, and it's just a waiting game. If you want to see your progress, basically I would go back to your account and see how far you're getting on. It used to be that the lower right hand corner used to be the first node, then that would be the second, third and fourth. In this particular upload, my first node is top left, then it's bottom right, and yeah, it's just a little bit all over the place. So there's no guarantees really, but the thing is just check it out. Does it work? Are all your links there? And if they are, then that's job done. Now, that's basically uploading, in simplistic terms, using Pano2VR to Google. I'm going to again throw it open again over to Karen to see if we've got any questions. And what I'll probably do is, if Karen doesn't mind, is I'll keep her going as well, because what I want to talk about, and perhaps Karen might have some ideas as well, this is why I want to keep her on, is we're going to sort of look at how other ways you can market the images that you've used to create the Google to your customers, and probably get a bit more value for yourself. But anyway, I'm going to open it up to Karen. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, we do. We've got some good questions, good legit questions. So Howard is asking, what's the recommended pixel dimension for an ecorrect?
Right, okay. Glad you asked that.
Yeah.
Basically, if we were to go into Pano2VR preferences and go to images, you will see that our Street View upload limit is 12K. The recommendation is not above 12K, all right? People have uploaded more. There'll be other people saying that's rubbish, you can upload higher resolutions, blah, 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 blah. But basically, Thomas looked into this. The Google recommendation is 12K. So like with everything else, if you stick to their recommendations and you have a problem, they don't have anything to come back and say, well, it's because you've done this or you've made the image too big. How this works is, if you're using a theta image that's 7K, using Pano2VR, it will upload that. But what Pano2VR is doing is it's setting a limit. So it will, so if you put a 16K equirectangular into Pano2VR, it will remap it to a JPEG and upload it as a 12K image, which is the default. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just whilst we're there, if you did want to, you could actually change the size of that. But as I say, 12K is the recommendation.
So let's see. Einstein, I hope I pronounced your name right, is asking, and I wonder this too, what happens if I don't select a place?
Well, if you don't select a place, then how does it know where to stick them? I would assume it's going to use the GPS. Now, if I remember rightly, now I've not done this myself, I know Thomas has. I believe if you've got like 25 nodes in a row and you don't add a place, it will start to create blue lines. You add a place if you doing a virtual tour of a location. Right, yes. As Thomas has just come through on the teletype, then you only get blue dots on the map. That's all what's going to happen. You just get blue dots on the map, and they won't be associated with anything. So if you type in, as an example, if you were to Google the Orwell Bridge, you will probably see these panoramas show up. But if you don't add a place and you Google the Orwell Bridge, then these panoramas won't show up. But if you look on the map, you'll see little blue dots. So yeah. So there's no association.
So you still see them if you look up images. When you look up a place in Google and you still have these, it'll give you a gallery of images, and it'll show you, regular photos or photospheres.
Well, I don't
so
know,
it'll still be up there, but you just don't see the little dots on Street View, right?
All right, okay. I'm just thinking, because the mere fact you haven't associated that with the place, Google will know where they are by the location data. But I mean, not being funny, it could be on the grass verge in the front of the property and not actually in the property. So I don't know is the honest answer. But basically what Thomas is saying is you'll just end up with blue dots. And of course, the panoramas won't be associated with the area that you're taking. So
yeah, try it. See what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't hurt. I should try. I'm sure mine, I don't have that many images up on Google Street View. And I don't think any of them actually have places, because they were added a long time before Place IDs were added. I think didn't Place IDs come a little bit later? or maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, okay. So Richard is asking, does an uploaded node with info pop-ups show up on Google Maps or any of the other pop-ups?
No, because we're only uploading images. We're not uploading any skins or anything like that. So there's no data going up. We're just purely uploading the panorama with metadata to tell Google where it is and where the links are.
Okay.
Or which nodes need links, because obviously, yeah, we have to sort of work that out. But interestingly enough, actually, that's a good point. That is a very good point. I'm going to bring into play my phone. All right, so let's, boom. I've got it sitting here, so bear with me because this could be doing all sorts of silly stuff. Here we go, it is, okay. So we're going to go to my account, all right. So we're going to go to settings and you'll see Auto Connect 360s. So it's here, all right. I've got that deselected. If you have that turned on, then Google will start to link where you've not put links in. I've actually had it, I've experimented myself. I did it was a 8-node tour of a little coffee shop, and it was all working lovely. I turned this on within 24 hours. I had hotspots all over the place. It was linking, the back door was linking to the front door and going through walls, and it was just diabolical. The thing is, if you're making the links yourself, turn this off. All right, make sure it's off. Okay, so let's go back to my account. Here I've got another common problem. It says here pick maps listing. This worked earlier. This was working perfectly earlier, and then it dropped it. So I've now got the River Orwell with only 16 views. I mean, I had lots of views. So this is a typical issues. Here we go. So these are typical issues really that you could get with Google, and it's for that reason why I want to talk about. Oh, here we go. So this is one that's working. So yeah, this is what it looks like on my phone using the Street View app. Okay, so now the interesting thing, and what I wanted to show you here, is sometimes your images can get rejected, and the way you do that is go to your phone app. All right, and I'm going to pick this up. Now you see I've got 111 views. Now normally 113 views, or 131 even, right? Now what you should get, which is very odd because I'm not seeing it, so let's go to another one. Oh bugger. Oops, shouldn't have said that, sorry. So let's go to another one. No, that's not showing it. I'm going to find one somewhere. No, okay. It's not going to happen for me, which is typical because this is live. Let's just do one more. So does it show me? No, it doesn't. Under this area here where it says 103 views, all right, you will either see maps approved or maps rejected. I was seeing maps approved earlier on, and now I'm not seeing anything. So I don't know quite what's going on with Google just yet with this. As anyone experienced with Google knows that certain things happen, certain things don't happen, and you can end up with a few issues. With this was working perfectly this morning. I've done nothing with this project, and all of a sudden it's dropped maps or place listings. I would assume within the next 24 hours or something they'll probably come back again. It's probably just a glitch. But if you feel that you've got a problem, so if you come to your phone and you have a look and you've got an all black screen, have a look, tap, make sure, is it maps rejected? Is it maps approved? If it's maps rejected, the thing to do is that you need to try and upload it again. So what I would do is go back to Pano2VR. I think I've already got it open. Yeah, go back to Pano2VR and just click the upload project button again, and basically see what happens. After another 24 hours. What happens? The maps rejected, I've not actually got down to the bottom of this, but basically what I'm being told by other users that I've spoke to that use Street View an awful lot is you just hit the upload project button a few times, and at one point it will then get uploaded. Why it's doing it, why Google does this, we don't know. I've certainly not found out any information, but we do know that it's a case if you just go back to the same project, upload again, at some point it will accept it, and it will be maps approved. But if you want to see where it's if it's maps approved or rejected, you need the Street View app, and you see it here. So let's come off there. So yeah, this is where you would see it. It's a shame that I can't show you. It really is, because I'd love to have been able to show you this. So let's just see if there's any. I'm just going to see if there's any. No, so this is a black one. No, I'm just not going to show. I'm not going to try either. But basically, at this point within the app, maps approved or maps rejected, and that's where you'll see it. Okay, so yep, brilliant.
Can I just want to butt in before you move on, because there was a question there somewhere.
Found one. Hang on, bringing that back.
Oh, okay.
Here it is. Maps approved.
So Dean, yeah, right. So yeah, I thought this was a duplicate question from Dean. Sorry, yeah, you got your maps approved.
Yes, and if it was rejected, it would say maps rejected. And it does actually say, and obviously it depends what language that your phone is set to and everything else, because I said to someone, is it maps approved or maps rejected? And apparently in a foreign language it didn't say that, and he couldn't answer the question, so he just showed me a picture and we found it was maps approved. But yeah, that's where it says it. As you can see, in a few of mine it didn't actually say anything, which is very odd, but it should say there if it's mapped approved or maps rejected, and here it is approved.
So sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not.
Wonderful. Right, I'll move it out of the way.
Okay, so the question, okay, I guess it's kind of a duplicate, but in a different way. Dan's asking, can we publish a tour to Google Maps to a location where there is no place defined? Which is kind of like the question where that was asked is, what if I don't add a place, right? So I see that as a difference of, okay. if sometimes there are no places that are defined in Google Maps, as opposed to so what, does that make a difference?
I'll tell you a story, all right? If you're all sitting back comfortably drinking hot chocolate, I'll tell you a bedtime story. And that is, on this particular tour, it's the River Orwell. And when I went to Google Maps and had a look, there is no listing for this. However, what you can do, there is let's do a new window. There is a website called Place ID Place ID Finder. Okay, and let's make sure I've got the right one. Yeah, it is. So basically here it is, and I typed in River Orwell, Ipswich, United Kingdom, boom, and there it is, River Orwell, and I've got this place ID. So I copied that. I thought, this is great, brilliant, because if you use this and you get a place ID, theoretically what I can do, so if I go back to my project and I'm going to delete this, right? If I open up the search field, right button click and paste, there it is. If I hit the return key, River Orwell, there it is. There's the place. There's the exact place. Google is telling me where to go. Brilliant. I then copied this through all nodes. All right. Problem I had was not all places work with Street View, and this is one of those places that doesn't. After 48 hours, I had all panoramas approved, so maps approved, but 3 of them were showing unknown places, so therefore I didn't have any links, because it can only link panoramas together where they know where they are. So I had this really, really bad situation where, I was coming up to this webinar and I'm thinking, damn, it's not working. So in the end, what I did was got rid of this, and I used an area that I knew the maps had, which was this viewpoint, and I used that instead. Within 10 minutes, all nodes had Orwell Bridge viewpoint linked up, and I had some nodes start to link. So the place is, let's get that out of there, sorry. The place is important. What I would do is I would go for places within Pano2VR, let's just open up this, that have got nice little logos. So if I was to go back to Orwell Bridge, or icons, not logos, icons. You've got places. So basically, it's pick a place that's on the map. If it's not on the map, what you can do is you can suggest a place. So let's go to Google Maps. I forget now. I think you've got to be signed in. I'm not signed in here, but I think you can. No, okay. You can go onto Google Maps. You'll see the 3 dots, and then you can submit a place. I think it takes a few days, a week or 2. I don't know exactly how long it takes, but then Google will add that place to maps, and then you can use the idea here of finding it using the map, because you'll see that place on Google. If that place is on Google Maps, you just click it and then it adds it into the place here. So that's it. I've got something else coming in from Thomas. Hold up 2 seconds. Let's see what's coming in. He does actually say you can also submit a place, which is exactly what I've just said. So let's just see. Need to type quicker, Thomas. Yeah, for businesses you can use my business app to add this as well. I do believe I've got it on my phone, to be honest. Let's have a look, make sure that I have before I show you. Yes, I have. Okay, so is my phone. There it is, Google My Business. I'm not sure what I've got in there, to be fair, so let's just open it up and see what it says. This could be quite embarrassing. All right, I'll continue as mine. I'm not going to show you any further because I don't know what data I've got in there, and I really don't want that, because obviously this is being recorded, so I don't want all my data being recorded all over webinars. Thank you very much. But yeah, you would use the My Business app, and then you can get the info from there. All right. Okay, want to go through the last bit I wanted to talk about, and I know we're sort of over time, but it is marketing these same images to get a little bit more bang for your buck. You've created a virtual tour, you've uploaded to Google. What else can you do with these images? Well, you can click the output button, select an HTML5 output, select one of our predetermined skins, or build your own skin very, very quickly. We have Pano2VR 101 webinars that cover this. Click the output button. Pano2VR will chug away and we'll create a proper self-hosted tour of your of the images that you've shot, and of course the hotspots will be in the right place. So here we go. So yep, so that's another way of reusing your images. We've created an output, and you can, so your customer can have the actual tour on their own website as a self-hosted, which is far more reliable. And then obviously you've got the Google Street View upload as well, so that's a different way. The other way that you can reuse your images is we have our quick share button, which is this one over here. Again, we have got information on this, but you pick one of your panoramas. You set the view that you want. It may be that you want to set a partial view. If that's the case, we can go to our viewing parameters and say that I could lock, as an example, I only want to see the size of the bridge, so I want to see the left side. Click, go to the right side, click, set. I'm now going to go there, set that as my default view. If I use the quick share button, it's going to create an image for sharing on social media. So that'll be Facebook, and you can see here now it will only you can only pan to those limits I've set. So that's another way that you can do it. So I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but the quick share button is great if someone's got a restaurant or something like that, and they want to put the single panorama into their Facebook feed. You can create a quick share button. I've limited the view. You don't need to. You can have the full 360. So that's one way of doing it. And the last way is, again, I think we actually covered this not so long back, was the animation editor. You can make an animation, so an MPEG-4 video of your tour, and again your customers can share these for Instagram, because obviously Instagram can take MPEG-4 videos, so you can share videos of the tour and whatnot. So there's, using Pano2VR, the same tool you can actually, what's the word I'm looking for? Maximize, that's it, maximize the potential of these 4 images. You can then, use them and do a lot more marketing other than just output into Street View. Anyway, I think I'm done. I'm just going to open the mic up. Oh, I say I'm going to open the mic up. Karen can open her own mic up. I have no control over what Karen says or does or even, does. So I'm just going to throw it open one more time and just say, is there anything else, Karen?
Yeah, there is. Dan, I was kind of considering if I should answer Dan's question or not because it seemed off topic to me. But you also touched on this topic, and it was he's asking about using the quick share export,
right.
And he's just wondering, what properties are actually required for this to work, and that he says, I'm guessing correct tour map location, but is there more to get the output that Facebook will recognize?
No, basically, the image has to have the metadata to say it's a spherical or partial spherical or whatever. The exact terms I don't know. That's a Thomas and Christoph thing. But
we just inject the metadata in order for Facebook to recognize if it's a equirectangular 360 or not.
Absolutely. In this case, what we output, what I'm going to do is, I don't know. No, I'm not logged in, and it would take too long to do. But basically, what I actually exported is this odd-looking image. And if you were to put this inside of Facebook, you would see a fairly flat type image, and it will allow you to pan either side to these restraints, because I actually put viewing limits in. All right. So if I was to go back to the same project here, right? So this is the same project, and I am going to reset all the limits. Okay, and we're going to create another share, but this. All right, so here's another one. So you can see here, so this is the same image. Let's open those up and open up. So this is the image with the limits applied. So you can only view side to side in Facebook to here. And this is the one with the limits removed. So you now do the whole sphere in Facebook. So our quick share button does all the work for you. Once it's shared, all you do is drag and drop it into your Facebook feed or page, and it will put it in, and it's ready to see. So there's nothing else doing.
No, there's no. It's not reading location data.
Nothing like that. The important part is Pano2VR is telling Facebook it's a it's an image that's not square. It's spherical. I mean, I'm trying to steer away from the word spherical because clearly this one is not spherical, but it is.
It's still spherical. It'll still be in Facebook. They'll still see it as a spherical image, but you'll only be able to. Yeah, you're limited to this view, it wouldn't look distorted in Facebook. It looked like your 360 image, but you can only move so far, pan so far left and right, and up and down. I don't know if you put limits on that too, but yeah. So you can control how much of the view is seen in Facebook.
Absolutely.
So there's another question from Dean, and he's asking, do we need a Google API key for Pano2VR?
Did I not cover that?
Nope.
I thought I did.
I might have had my eyeballs off the screen for a little bit, but I don't think you did.
All right. Okay. I'm sure. Well, okay. If I haven't, it doesn't matter. I will go into it.
Do it again.
I quite possibly didn't. So let's have a look. If I go into because I want to show if you've not done this before. So let's go to our website and just type in a search and just type in API key, because obviously, being a 101, quite possible people don't know what we're talking about. So we go to our website, type in this search, setting up a Google Maps and API key. Right, okay, we have a nice little video on it, but basically what you need to do is have a key from or an API key from Google which allows you to access certain APIs, which is the JavaScript Maps API, the Places API, and the geolocating or geocoding. And these are all the things that you need to do or need to have, which we did. All right, because we obviously we looked at a place, we opened up a Google map to do something, or to look at a map, and then we dragged and dropped pins on there, so we located items. So they are all the APIs that you need. All right, now those APIs get put into one key. Now that page does discuss all of that. So I'm not going to go into any great detail, but if you go into Pano2VR preferences, go to advanced, you would put your key there. Okay, now it's come up several times. Do you actually need a key for yourself? If you are like me and a very, very casual user, then you don't, because we actually have, like Garden Gnome, as in we have our own key that we use, which is built into Pano2VR, which allows you to do this. Now, we get charged every time someone opens up the Google map or finds a place or anything else. There is a charge levied towards us. Now, we do get, like everybody else, you will get $200 credit. All right. So I'm assuming that we would get the same thing or whatever, but there's credit. So every time you use something, it might cost you, I don't know, 5 cents or something like that every time you open it up or whatever. And the idea is that we allow people to use our key because we're just so kind and lovely and squidgy, and we're happy to do that. But if Google Maps and Street View is your business and you rely on it and you're charging people big bucks for it, then you really need to go and get your own key, and you'll paste your key in here. The reason why I say that is because we keep an eye on the costs. If basically, you know, a lot of big players are using Pano2VR to upload loads of images, if it starts getting costly, we'll just switch it off. For the casual user, it's like, oof, okay, wait till next month and we might switch it back on again. But if it's your business, then you really ought to be using your own key. You know, and the next question is going to be, how much does it cost? As I said before, you'll get $200 free credit a month. But what I would say to you is go to your Google account, have a look at it. It's all in that video, and it tells you can actually see what cost is levied to you every time you use one of the keys. So every time you open a map, there is a charge, but it will be taken away from your credit. Once you've gone past that, then you will start actually getting a charge. But the other key feature with this, with Google Maps, because this was working and all of a sudden it stopped, and that's the question I get thrown at me, and that's your Google account needs a valid payment method linked to your account. Okay, so when you open up a Google account, you need a valid payment method there. Even if you never ever use the amount of APIs to start getting charged, Google needs that connection to a valid account. If you don't have it, then even though you've got a good API key and it's all in and everything's all working, one day you'll go to Pano2VR, you'll open it up, and it will just say like the tour map will come up and say, for development use only or something like that. It's, so those are the things you've got to worry about. But yeah, other than that, yes, we have our own API key. You're welcome to use our one by not putting anything in here if you're a casual user. But really, if it's your bread and butter and it's your business, get your own key, because we could turn it off, and you really don't want that happening if you're trying to upload a big tour. Okay, I think I'm done. I probably didn't actually talk about this. Actually, I'm just thinking about it now because I was too busy playing with the video, I think. Anyway, we move on. So yeah, I think I'm done now. I don't think I've got anything more to say. We've really gone over on this one. So anything else, Karen?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. I think you covered everything. So yeah, I think we can wrap it up.
Excellent. I need a beer. Right. Okay. Well, thank you once again, everybody, for joining us today. This was only supposed to be a quick 101 and basic. But I think all of the information was valid, it was important, and yeah, just thanks for joining us. I'm not here next week. I don't know what's happening next week. I'm sure the team will put something out. I'm not sure what's going on, but whatever happens, it won't be me.
Might be stuck with me, and I'm not as clear as Martin is when it comes to these things. But probably nothing will happen.
But anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. I've been Martin. This is Garden Gnome, and from me, thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.